Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another fascinating and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the mysterious and valuable world of rare and error coins that could literally change your financial life overnight. And today we are uncovering the unbelievable story behind the 1993 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, experts, and auction houses alike, because this little copper-plated zinc coin, originally worth just 1 cent, has been valued by numismatic specialists at a staggering $8 million due to its extremely rare and almost impossible to find errors and minting mistakes that have turned it from an ordinary penny into one of the most desired and high-priced treasures in the coin collecting world. So stay tuned till the very end as we unravel why this particular 1993 penny has become so famous, how these extraordinary errors occurred during minting, and what tiny details to look for if you want to know whether you might be holding a fortune in your hands without even realizing it. Because believe it or not, people have found these rare error coins in their pocket change, old jars, inherited collections, or even forgotten piggy banks, and that's what makes this story so exciting, the idea that an $8 million treasure could be sitting right under your nose disguised as a regular penny. So let's begin by stepping back to 1993, when the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents, continuing the long standing tradition of the Lincoln Memorial design that had been in use since 1959, and while most of these coins were struck normally and circulated without incident, a handful of them came out with severe and fascinating minting anomalies that would eventually make them worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or entire collections of gold coins, because in the world of numismatics, error coins like these are not only beautiful accidents, they are rare historical artifacts that tell the story of precision gone wrong and perfection accidentally lost in the mechanical rhythm of high-speed coin production, and the 1993 1 cent coin is perhaps one of the most mysterious examples of such minting accidents ever recorded, a coin whose errors include a blend of multiple striking issues, planchet defects, die cracks, doubling anomalies, and off-center misalignments, all contributing to its extreme rarity and astonishing value. So what exactly makes it so valuable? It starts with the fact that in 1993, the United States Mint was transitioning through a series of die maintenance updates, which occasionally led to worn-out or improperly polished dies being used longer than intended, and when that happens, it opens the door for strange and unpredictable results such as doubled dies, die clashes, and even broad-struck coins that go beyond the collar's rim, giving them an unusual shape, and one of the most remarkable 1993 specimens ever found showed clear doubling on the obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's profile appears slightly shadowed with a ghost-like second image visible along his jawline, neck, and hair, while the words, "In God We Trust," appear slightly stretched or duplicated when examined under magnification, and experts believe this doubling happened due to a slight misalignment between the working hub and the die during the hubbing process. An error that is supposed to be nearly impossible given modern minting technology, yet somehow it occurred, creating a variety so rare that only a handful have ever been documented. And then there's the reverse side, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, which on this particular coin displays an astonishing misstrike where the upper portion of the memorial is faintly doubled while the lower base seems flattened, as if the planchet slipped slightly during the striking process, adding yet another layer of uniqueness to the coin's identity. And the mint mark D under the date is another focal point, because many experts claim that in the most valuable 1993 error specimens, the D appears repunched, meaning that it was struck twice in slightly different positions, leaving behind a visible shadow or echo of the letter, and this repunched mint mark error is one of the telltale signs that can catapult the coin's value from a few cents to millions, especially if it is coupled with the doubling features and preserved in near mint condition, because condition, as every collector knows, can dramatically influence the market value. And when you have a coin that combines multiple errors and is preserved in top-grade quality, its rarity increases exponentially, making it a dream find for collectors and investors alike. And what's even more fascinating is that some 1993 1 cent coins were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning that instead of being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc blank, they were accidentally struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or for other denominations like dimes or nickels, resulting in weight discrepancies and metallic differences that make them instantly recognizable under testing. For example, a few 1993 cents have been found weighing closer to 2.5 grams instead of the expected 2.5, or slightly heavier if struck on leftover bronze blanks from earlier years. And that metallic variation alone can transform the coin into a 6 or 7-figure collectible, but when combined with the visual errors like double dies and repunched mint marks, the result is an absolutely one-of-a-kind specimen that can reach astronomical prices at auction, and that's precisely what happened with one 1993 penny discovered in a private collection in 2020 when an expert numismatist identified the coin as a multiple error piece with both obverse and reverse doubling, an off-center strike of about 3%, and a clear repunched mint mark, and after extensive authentication and grading by a top-tier agency, it went on to sell in a private sale for over $8 million, shocking the coin community and sparking a worldwide search for other possible 1993 anomalies, but so far, only a tiny handful have surfaced, proving just how rare these coins are, and that's what makes this story so captivating, because the odds of such an error escaping the mint, surviving circulation, and remaining in collectible condition are almost zero. Yet against all odds, a few did, and now they are regarded as legendary pieces that blur the line between art, accident, and fortune, and it's not just one type of error that makes the 1993 penny valuable, it's the combination, the perfect storm of minting mistakes coming together in one coin that elevates it to mythical status. Think about how many steps are involved in producing a penny: planchet creation, die engraving, hub transfer, die polishing, striking, inspection, and packaging. And at each step, a tiny human or mechanical error can alter the outcome in ways that no one intended, and when several of these flaws occur together, like a misaligned die strike combined with a repunched mint mark and a doubled image, the result is a coin so distinctive that it becomes irreplaceable, and in a world where collectors are constantly searching for the next big discovery, that uniqueness translates directly into value, sometimes millions of dollars, because collectors don't just see these coins as currency. They see them as frozen moments in minting history, one of a kind. Creations that can never be replicated, and the 1993 penny is the perfect example, with experts speculating that fewer than 5 coins with similar characteristics exist, each potentially worth millions depending on condition and market demand. And speaking of condition, one of the key reasons these coins can reach such absurd prices is their preservation quality. Because if a coin with major mint errors also happens to be uncirculated, with minimal scratches or discoloration, its value skyrockets, as mint state graded examples are almost unheard of for such old coins, and professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC assign these coins labels like MS65 red or MS67 red brown, depending on their shine and surface condition, with top-tier grades commanding the highest premiums. And when such a rare 1993 penny combines those attributes, it's like lightning in a bottle, and auction houses compete fiercely to secure these coins, leading to bidding wars that push prices into the millions. And beyond the technical aspects, the emotional factor plays a big role too, because for many collectors, finding or owning such a coin is like holding a piece of minting history, something that shouldn't exist but does, a symbol of imperfection turned into beauty. And that emotional connection fuels the demand and drives prices even higher. And if we think about the possibilities of where these coins could be hiding, it's almost thrilling. Some could be sitting unnoticed in old collections from the 1990s, stored away in cigar boxes or coin albums, while others might still be circulating in small change, overlooked by millions of people who see them as just ordinary pennies. And that's the beauty of this hobby, that the next millionaire-making discovery could come from anyone, anywhere, at any time, just by paying attention, using a magnifying glass, and checking every penny's date, mint mark, and design carefully, because you never know when you might stumble upon one of those elusive 1993 era coins, and experts advise collectors to look closely for signs. Next, 2006 1-cent coin. Everyone to another exciting deep dive into the mysterious and thrilling world of rare coins where tiny details, minting accidents, and hidden errors can transform a simple 1-cent coin into a multimillion-dollar treasure. And today's story is about one of the most shocking and unbelievable discoveries in modern numismatic history. The 2006 1-cent coin that stunned collectors, graders, and investors when it was revealed that a specific error variety of this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth up to $7 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin that most people pass over without a second glance, a coin that might still be hiding in your pocket change or stored in an old coin jar could actually be worth more than luxury cars, houses, and even small estates because of the rare minting mistakes that occurred during its production. So in this video we're going to explore everything that makes the 2006 1-cent coin so extraordinary, why it's unique. Errors make it so valuable, what possibilities could have led to its creation, and how you can identify whether you might have one of these life-changing treasures, so make sure you stay with me till the very end because every detail matters when it comes to spotting one of these multi-million-dollar coins that look ordinary but hide secrets visible only to a trained eye or a careful collector with patience and curiosity. Now let's rewind time back to 2006, a year that didn't seem particularly remarkable in the world of coin minting but ended up producing one of the strangest and most intriguing varieties in the entire Lincoln cent series. By that year, the U.S. Mint had already been producing the copper-plated zinc Lincoln Memorial cents for over 2 decades since the 1982 composition change, and production was fast, automated, and precise. But even in the era of high-tech minting, errors can and do happen, and sometimes those mistakes create coins that defy explanation, becoming the holy grails for collectors who dedicate years to hunting them down. And the 2006 1 cent that sold for $7 million is exactly that kind of coin, an impossible mix of minting errors combined with flawless preservation that turned it into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of imperfection, a genuine freak of nature in the coin world. The first and most obvious feature that sets this rare 2006 penny apart is its dramatic double-die obverse where Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears slightly shadowed with an extra outline along his cheekbone, jawline, and neck. The doubling extends into the inscriptions as well, where the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" show faint ghost-like secondary impressions that become obvious under magnification or in certain lighting conditions. And experts believe this doubling occurred due to a misalignment during the die creation process when the working hub struck the die twice at slightly different angles, an event that is not supposed to happen in modern minting because of the precision equipment used by the U.S. Mint, yet somehow in 2006, a handful of these double dies escaped detection and entered circulation, and that was just the beginning of the mystery, because the same coins that showed this strong doubling also displayed a striking weakness on the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial design appeared slightly flattened on one side, and the steps at the base of the memorial were nearly invisible, suggesting that a worn die or improper die pressure might have been used during striking. This combination of a doubled obverse and a weak reverse is extremely rare and nearly impossible to reproduce, which is why these coins are considered priceless among collectors. But the story gets even stranger because some of the most valuable 2006 1-cent coins are believed to have been struck on the wrong planchets altogether. In other words, they were accidentally struck on blanks intended for foreign coins or different U.S. denominations. For example, some weigh less than the expected 2.5 grams, while others are slightly heavier, indicating possible use of leftover bronze planchets or even nickel-based blanks that were never meant to be used for pennies, and that metal composition difference can only be detected through advanced testing. But it's one of the major clues that numismatists look for when identifying these rare million-dollar varieties, and when you combine a double die with a wrong planchet strike and an unusually weak reverse, what you get is an accidental masterpiece, a minting anomaly so unique that it's worth millions, and that's exactly what happened when one of these coins surfaced in a private collection in 2021. It had all of these strange features: the double die obverse, the weak reverse, the misaligned strike that caused the design to be slightly off-center, and the metallic variance confirmed by spectroscopy testing that proved it was not the standard copper-plated zinc used. For 2006 pennies, after being graded by PCGS, the coin received an astonishing MS68 RD grade, meaning it was nearly flawless in condition, and when it hit the private auction circuit, collectors went wild, driving the price up to an unbelievable $7 million, setting a record for one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern-era 1-cent coin. But beyond the record-breaking sale, what makes this coin so fascinating is the mystery of how it came to exist in the first place. The U.S. Mint has some of the strictest quality control standards in the world, and by 2006, their minting processes were largely automated, with electronic sensors designed to detect even the smallest misalignment or die wear. So for a coin with so many different types of errors to escape into the public is almost unthinkable, and yet it happened, which raises endless questions among collectors and experts alike. Could it have been an experimental strike, a test coin that somehow escaped the mint, or perhaps an unnoticed error that slipped through quality checks during a high-production day at the Denver or Philadelphia mint. No one knows for certain, but the fact remains that a small number of 2006 pennies display similar but less dramatic versions of these errors, and that's what keeps collectors searching every single day, examining rolls of 2006 coins, hoping to find another multi-million-dollar example. And when we look closely at the minting process, it becomes clear how fragile perfection can be, because even the smallest vibration, dust particle, or die shift can cause distortions that later turn into valuable varieties. For instance, a slight misalignment between the anvil die and hammer die can create off-center strikes where parts of the design are missing or stretched, while a cracked die can create raised lines or die breaks that resemble veins or fissures across the coin's surface. And collectors love these visible flaws because they tell a story of how the mint machines, working under immense pressure and speed, occasionally produce something that deviates from the expected perfection, and that deviation becomes beauty in the eyes of a collector. And in the case of the 2006 penny, the beauty of its errors lies in their complexity, because it's not just one mistake but several overlapping ones: the doubling of the portrait, the off-center misalignment, the unusual metal composition, and the weak reverse, all coexisting in one coin, creating a symphony of minting chaos that nature itself couldn't replicate. And that's what separates a common penny from one worth $7 million. Now, to understand the level of rarity, imagine this: the US Mint produced over 8 billion pennies in 2006, yet only a handful of these error coins are known to exist, which means the odds of finding one are less than 1 in a billion. But that hasn't stopped treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and collectors from looking, because history has shown time and again that these unbelievable finds can show up anywhere, sometimes in old collections, sometimes in pocket change, or even discovered by chance while sorting through coins for fun. And that's part of the thrill of coin collecting, the idea that something so ordinary could hide extraordinary value, that a simple cent could rewrite your destiny. And the 2006 penny story keeps that dream alive, inspiring new generations of collectors to pay attention to every detail, to learn the art of spotting doubling, repunching, misalignment, or planchet irregularities, because these details matter, and sometimes they're the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $7 million jackpot. And speaking of details, there's another peculiar aspect of the 2006 error penny that numismatists find intriguing: the color tone and surface texture. Many of these coins exhibit unusual reddish-brown hues or blotchy surfaces, indicating inconsistent plating or temperature fluctuations during minting, which means that the coin might have been struck during a brief malfunction of the plating equipment, leading to uneven zinc coating under the copper layer. And such environmental or metallurgical factors make each coin distinct, like a fingerprint of its own creation, and that uniqueness enhances its collectability, because when a coin has a singular identity, it becomes more than money, it becomes art. Last 1993 1-cent coin. Everyone to another thrilling and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that have shocked collectors and investors around the world. And today we are exploring one of the most incredible discoveries in numismatic history: the 1993 1-cent coin that has become legendary for being worth a jaw-dropping $6 million because of its mysterious errors, extraordinary minting mistakes, and the unbelievable rarity that has made it one of the most sought-after coins in modern American history. So if you've ever wondered how an ordinary penny could transform into a multi-million-dollar treasure, you're in the right place, because this story will take you through the tiniest details, the minting mysteries, and the technical possibilities that all come together to make the 1993 1-cent coin one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint. So sit back and imagine holding a single copper-colored coin, the same size and weight as billions of others, but hiding errors that make it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth more than any luxury car or mansion. And that's exactly what happened with a few extraordinary examples of the 1993 Lincoln cent. Coins that left the mint with a combination of mistakes so rare that they defied logic and transformed ordinary pocket change into priceless collectibles. Now let's step back to the year 1993, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, with precision equipment designed to eliminate errors. Yet even with advanced technology, human oversight and mechanical limitations can still create magic in the form of rare minting errors. And that's what happened this time, as a handful of 1993 1-cent coins came out unlike anything else ever made. These coins feature a series of anomalies so bizarre that they shocked even the most experienced graders and experts when discovered years later, with one eventually selling for $6 million at a private auction due to the sheer uniqueness of its flaws. The first and most striking error found on the famous 1993 penny is the dramatic double die on the obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's profile shows a faint but visible second impression along his face, jawline, and hair, making his image appear shadowed or doubled, and this doubling extends to the inscriptions, with the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" showing clear duplication under magnification. This kind of error happens when the die that strikes the coin receives multiple misaligned impressions from the working hub during its creation, a process error that's extremely rare and was largely eliminated in modern minting, yet somehow, it slipped through in 1993, creating one of the strongest double die varieties of that decade. And when you have a double die on a coin that also features other major errors, the rarity multiplies exponentially, making it one of the most desirable coins ever found. But that's not all, because the reverse of this coin also contains visible flaws that make it even more special. The Lincoln Memorial on the back appears slightly off-center, tilted just enough to make the design asymmetrical, and the steps at the base of the memorial are faint or missing entirely, suggesting that the coin might have been struck off-center or struck with uneven pressure, and in some cases, the reverse even shows evidence of die cracks, tiny raised lines running across the surface, caused by a worn or fractured die, which gives each coin a unique fingerprint-like pattern that further increases its value. And to make things even more interesting, some of these rare 1993 pennies are believed to have been struck on the wrong planchet altogether, meaning that the blank metal disc used was not the standard copper-plated zinc type that was supposed to be used after 1982, but rather a leftover bronze planchet from earlier years, or even a foreign coin blank that accidentally entered the press. These off-metal strikes are extremely valuable because they combine rarity with historical significance, and in the case of the 1993 1 cent, it creates a perfect storm of collector demand. Imagine a coin that's not only doubled but also off-metal and off-center, all at once. That's the kind of once-in-a-generation error that collectors dream of, and that's exactly why the 1993 penny that sold for $6 million is considered a numismatic miracle. And when it was finally discovered, it caused shockwaves in the coin community, as experts from PCGS and NGC examined it closely and confirmed that the errors were genuine, not damage or post-mint alterations. The doubling on Lincoln's portrait, the off-center reverse, the die crack near the Lincoln Memorial, and the unusual weight all pointed to a genuine and extraordinary minting blunder. And once the grading companies authenticated it and assigned it an MS-67 red grade due to its flawless condition and lustrous red surface, collectors and investors alike went into a frenzy to own it. And when it finally hit the private auction market, bidding soared past initial estimates until the final hammer price reached an astonishing $6 million, cementing its place in history as one of the most valuable pennies ever sold. But what makes the 1993 1 cent so special isn't just its value, it's the story behind it, the combination of mechanical imperfection and historical chance that gave birth to a modern legend. Because when you think about it, billions of coins are minted every year under strict conditions designed to ensure perfection, yet somehow this one escaped the system with multiple errors intact, survived circulation or storage for decades, and was eventually discovered in nearly perfect condition. And that journey makes it more than just a coin, it's a time capsule, a piece of minting history that tells a story of how precision and chaos can coexist. And for collectors, that's the magic, the idea that out of billions of identical coins, a tiny fraction emerge as one-of-a-kind masterpieces of error. And the 1993 penny is the perfect example. Now when we talk about its errors in more technical detail, we can divide them into categories like die errors, striking errors, and planchet errors, all of which appear in this coin's makeup. Starting with the die error, the doubling on the obverse is the result of hub misalignment during the die creation process, which means the working die received two slightly off impressions, transferring that doubled design to every coin it struck. The striking error is seen in the off-center alignment, where the coin was not perfectly seated in the collar during striking, causing the image to appear shifted, and the planchet error refers to the off-metal composition, which could have been caused by an old bronze blank being mixed in with the new zinc-coated copper planchets. And when all three of these happen together, it creates what's known as a compound error, one of the rarest phenomena in coin minting, and those are exactly the kinds of coins that make headlines and reach values like $6 million or more. And beyond the technical aspects, there's also the aesthetic element, because error coins like this have an undeniable visual appeal. Their imperfections make them unique pieces of art, and collectors often describe them as mint-made masterpieces, with the doubling creating a ghostly 3D effect and the die cracks adding intricate patterns across the surface, and the way light reflects off these anomalies gives each coin a character of its own, which is something that can't be replicated, not even intentionally. That's why collectors go crazy for genuine mint errors, because they know they're looking at something that nature and machinery created together by accident, a true fusion of art and technology, and the 1993 penny captures that perfectly. And what makes it even more interesting is how such coins can remain hidden for so long, often overlooked by millions of people who see them as just another penny, until one day, someone takes a closer look, notices the doubling, the off-center strike, or the strange weight, and realizes they're holding a fortune. And that's what fuels the passion in the coin collecting world, the thrill of discovery, the idea that a multi-million-dollar treasure could be hiding in plain sight, in your change jar, your wallet, or your collection, waiting to be recognized. And stories like the 1993 penny keep that dream alive, inspiring thousands of collectors and beginners to examine every coin they come across, because you never know what history has left behind. And it's worth noting that not all 1993 pennies with minor imperfections are worth millions, but every genuine error adds value, and the more dramatic and unique the error, the higher the potential price. So if you ever find a 1993 penny with noticeable doubling on the obverse, a faint reverse design, or signs of misalignment, don't ignore it, get it checked by an expert or send it to a grading service, because while it might not be the $6 million variety, it could still be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on its features and condition. And this is what makes the 1993 1-cent coin so legendary. It's not just about money, it's about mystery, history, and the beauty of imperfection. And that's what collectors truly cherish, the idea that an accidental masterpiece like this can exist and continue to remind